You are standing on the side of the road. A police officer hands you a clipboard and says, "Sign here." Your hand is shaking. You do not fully understand what you are signing, but something inside you says, "Just sign it and leave." Almost everyone signs. Almost everyone walks away without knowing they just handed over something that could hurt them for years. This is one of the most dangerous things ordinary people do every single day without even realizing it. And almost nobody knows they do not have to do it. Here is the truth that could protect your freedom right now. You have a constitutional right to decline any signature a police officer demands from you. You do not have to sign anything. Not a statement, not a form, not an acknowledgement, not a warning. Nothing. That right exists specifically to protect you from yourself in moments when fear and confusion make you want to comply with whoever is standing in front of you. But almost no one exercises that right, and the consequences can be devastating. The first thing you need to understand is why people sign things to police officers in the first place. It is not because they are bad people. It is because of how human psychology works when you are face to face with someone who has power over you. When a police officer tells you to sign something, your brain interprets that as a command. Your brain tells you that the person in front of you has authority and you should probably do what they say. This is a deeply ingrained response that almost every human being has. It is the same reason people stand when a judge enters a courtroom. Authority triggers compliance in most people automatically. The problem is that police officers know this. They ask for signatures because they know most people will give them. It makes their job easier. It gives them documentation. It closes cases. And it does not matter to them whether that signature was given freely or out of confusion or fear. The signature itself is what matters. Once you sign something, it becomes a legal document. And you signed it. That is all the evidence they need. Here is what happens next that most people never see coming. You sign a statement saying you understood your rights, but you did not really understand them. You signed a form admitting you received a warning, but you were never clearly told what the warning meant. You signed something that says you consent to a search, but you did not know you could say no. And now that piece of paper exists. And it can be used against you in ways you never imagined when you were standing there feeling confused and scared. The dangerous part is this. Most people do not read what they sign. They assume it is routine. They assume the officer is being straightforward with them. They assume they do not have a choice anyway, so why fight it? And they sign. That one act of compliance can create a paper trail that prosecutors use to build cases against people. It can be used to show that you understood something you never actually understood. It can be used to prove consent for something you never consciously agreed to. And in court, your signature is treated as gospel. The judge and jury see that you signed your name on that line, and they have a very hard time believing you did not know what you were doing. If you want to protect yourself and your family from making this mistake, make sure you watch the entire video. The most important part is still ahead. There are documented cases of people signing statements that admitted guilt to crimes they did not commit. Not because they were lying to the police, but because they were confused, frightened, and trying to cooperate. They thought signing was the right thing to do. They thought it would help them, and it destroyed them. One signature, that is all it took. This is why understanding this right matters so much. It is a backstop. It is a last line of defense between you and a system that is designed to process people efficiently. The system wants signatures. The system wants forms filled out. The system wants documentation that makes everything clean and simple. And the system uses your fear and your desire to be agreeable against you. Your constitutional right to refuse a signature is your protection against that pressure. It is the one tool you have in that moment that the system cannot take from you unless you give it away voluntarily. If you are finding this useful, consider subscribing to this channel. We make videos like this to help people protect themselves and their families from exactly these kinds of situations. It takes just 1 second and you will see more content like this on your feed. Now let me tell you what you should actually do when an officer asks you to sign something. The answer is simpler than you might think. Politely and clearly say no. You do not have to be rude. You do not have to be aggressive. You do not have to make a scene. You simply say, "I do not wish to sign anything." And you say it clearly enough that the officer hears you and understands that you are making a conscious choice. What happens after that? The officer may tell you that you are required to sign. Some officers will tell you that signing is mandatory. Some will tell you that your refusal will make things worse. Some will pressure you or mislead you about what the law actually says. This is where most people fail. They hear the officer tell them they must sign, and they believe it. They assume the officer knows what they are talking about. They sign because they are scared of making things worse. But here is the truth. The officer is often wrong. The officer may be mistaken about the law. The officer may be deliberately misleading you to get what they want. Either way, you do not have to comply. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to not incriminate yourself. You have a right to decline to sign anything. These rights are not suggestions. They are in the Constitution of the United States, and they belong to you whether the officer acknowledges them or not. If the officer persists, you can simply repeat yourself. I understand, but I am not going to sign anything. Is there anything else you need from me? This keeps you polite, respectful, and clear. You are not being hostile. You are not resisting arrest. You are simply declining to sign a document. That is legal. That is protected. And it is the right move in almost every situation. But consider the alternative. You sign something you do not fully understand. That document becomes evidence against you. Your signature is used in court to show you knew what you were doing. And now you have made your situation far worse by cooperating with something you did not have to do in the first place. The risk of signing without understanding what you are signing is often greater than the risk of refusing to sign. But almost nobody sees it that way in the moment. Fear drives them to comply, and compliance feels safer even when it is not. If you are still with me, I want you to understand something deeply. This is not about being difficult with police. This is about protecting yourself from making a mistake that you cannot undo. You can always talk to a lawyer after the encounter. You can always explain your side of the story later. You can always cooperate with the process through proper legal channels. But once you sign something, you have handed over something that cannot be taken back. The document exists. Your signature is on it. And you gave it away under pressure without even realizing what you were doing. One more thing before I wrap up. Do not make the mistake of thinking this only applies to serious situations. People sign things in minor encounters all the time. Traffic stops, noise complaints, trespassing warnings. Each one of these situations can result in a document that has legal consequences. And in each one of these situations, you have the right to decline to sign. The stakes might be lower in some encounters than others, but the principle remains the same. Do not sign anything you do not fully understand and have had time to consider with a clear mind. If you want more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We cover topics that can genuinely protect you and your loved ones from serious mistakes. Here is what most people miss. The moment you are in a police encounter is not the time to try to figure out the law. You do not have the resources. You do not have the time. You do not have the clarity of mind to make legal decisions under pressure. That is why the best strategy is to keep your mouth shut, refuse to sign anything, and ask for a lawyer before you do anything else. That is not being difficult. That is being smart. That is protecting yourself from a system that is designed to move fast and get signatures on forms. The first trap is verbal admissions. Even if you do not sign anything, you can still say things that hurt you. Officers are trained to keep you talking. They will ask questions that seem casual. They will make small talk. They will ask you to explain your side of the story. And everything you say can be used in court. Your words do not need your signature to become evidence. They only need to be recorded and remembered. So even if you refuse to sign anything, you need to be very careful about what you say out loud. This is why the first rule of any police encounter is simple. Say as little as possible. Be polite. Be respectful. But do not volunteer information. Do not explain yourself unless you are specifically asked a direct question. And even then, give the shortest, honest answer you can and stop talking. The second trap is consent. Officers will often ask for your consent to search your car, your home, or your belongings. They will frame it as a request. They will make it sound routine. They will say something like, "Do you mind if I take a look inside?" Most people say yes because they do not know they can say no. They think refusing will make them look guilty. They think cooperating is the right thing to do. But you do not have to consent to a search. Not in most situations. And refusing consent cannot be used against you in court. If an officer asks to search something and you say no, they cannot use your refusal as proof that you were hiding something. They need a warrant or probable cause to proceed without your consent. So when in doubt, say no to searches too. If you are watching this with someone you love, make sure they understand this too. because most people learn this lesson the hard way. They learn it when they are sitting across from a prosecutor trying to explain why they signed something they should not have. They learn it when they are explaining to a judge that they did not really understand what they were signing. They learn it when the evidence against them includes their own signature on a document they never should have signed in the first place. What happens next changes everything. If you share this video with one person who needs to hear it, you might save them from making a terrible mistake. You might help a friend, a family member, a coworker, or a neighbor avoid a legal problem they did not see coming. That is what this information is for. Not just to make you smarter, but to help you protect the people you care about. Let me bring everything together for you now. When a police officer asks you to sign anything, remember three things. First, you have a constitutional right to say no. That right exists specifically to protect you in moments of pressure and confusion. Second, your signature creates legal consequences that you cannot undo. Once you sign, the document exists and your name is on it. Third, you always have the option to say, I do not wish to sign anything, and I would like to speak to an attorney. That sentence is your shield. It buys you time. It protects your rights. And it gives you the chance to make decisions with proper legal guidance instead of under pressure on the side of the road. The system is not inherently evil. Police officers are doing their jobs. But the system is designed to process people efficiently. And efficiency often comes at the expense of your individual rights. Your constitutional right to decline any signature a cop demands is your counterbalance to that pressure. It is your protection. It is your choice. And almost no one exercises it because almost no one knows they have it. Now you know, and knowing is the difference between walking away from an encounter free and clear and walking into a courtroom with evidence against you that you signed yourself. If this video helped you understand something important, do not keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Send it to a friend. Send it to a family member. Send it to anyone who drives a car, talks to police, or lives in a world where these situations could happen at any moment. The more people who understand this right, the safer everyone is. If you found value in this, go ahead and like the video. It helps more people find it. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss the next one. We are going to keep bringing you information that matters, information that could protect your freedom, your money, and your family. And we are going to keep explaining things in a way that makes sense so you can use the information when it matters most.